This is Matt in the Man Cave, guys. It's late night. It's after dark. Double fist bump to you, my friend. It's coming so quick nowadays. Hey, guys, let me ask you this. Are you willing to fight for your marriage? I mean, are you willing to duke it out for your marriage? Are you willing to run the extra mile, to do everything to make it exciting, to keep it on the cutting edge? Can I ask you a question just between you and I, no one else? When was the last time you bought flowers for your wife? Are you opening the car door for her when you go somewhere? Let me ask you this. When was the last time you went out on a date with her for no other reason that you love her? Can I ask you another question? Did you get up this morning and make her breakfast? Are you getting flowers and placing them on her pillow and a little chocolate and telling her how special she is? Are you joining her in doing some of the what? The house chores? Or is that just like, oh, that's not my deal. I work 40 hours. So does she. You guys, all those questions that I asked you, it brings us to our text. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 29, verse 18. Listen to this. Jacob was in love with Rachel. He absolutely was smitten by the kitten. I mean, he made an agreement with Laban, her father. I'm going to work 7 years for Rachel. And then her father, Laban, tricks Jacob, okay, and gives her the ugly sister, and he makes an arrangement. I'll work for another 7, because here's the thing. It was a little bit of time in his sight. That's how in love he was. Friends, think about that. 14 years, you got to be in love. I mean, you got to be struck with love, okay? And he was. When I look throughout Scripture, from time to time, I see these wonderful couples that are just in love. Their marriage is passionate. It's exciting. It's on the cutting edge. Sometimes I think of Elkanah, which was what? He was the husband of who? Of Hannah. And it talks about their relationship, how he loved Hannah. It reminds me also of the Shulamite in Solomon. And here's the thing. That's a steamy little conversation. Oh, if you go to Song of Solomon and look how he talks about his wife and how he adored her and how he admired her and how he just had fantasies about her. And he's talking about every little aspect of her, and I mean every aspect of her, okay? But I'm here to tell you, if you don't keep it exciting, you're going to lose out. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it and you might just lose it. And you're like, Matt, what are you talking about? I'm talking about marriages that are crumbling all around us, that are dissolving, okay, because men can't keep their eyes off of other women, and other women don't feel that their emotional needs are being met, okay, and both spouses are not doing what it takes to keep it exciting. Some like it hot, some like it hot. If we were to go to the book of Song of Solomon, it talks about Hunter there. You're like, you got to be kidding, Matt. No, Hunter the fox isn't there. It says, watch out for the little foxes that ruin the tender vines. What are those? Those are the things that over time you allow into your marriage. Complacency. Doing the same thing the same way every single time, not adding any variety to your life, not adding anything new to your life, not having any adventures together, not experiencing new heights and new things. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? See, friends, it was exciting when you were dating and you hadn't slept with your wife yet. Was it exciting? Well, yeah, that was exciting times. Tell me about it. What were you doing? Oh, man, we couldn't wait to get together. Why can't you do those same exact things that you were doing back then when you were dating your spouse? Do them now. Where has the passion gone? Where's the drive? Where's the love? Complacency. Head of household. Man, complacency. You're used to your wife. You're used to your wife. Some of you are going to come home tonight, and it's a certain day of the week, and you already know what you're having for dinner. Same-o, same-o. Friends, life can't be like that. Not when God has given you an imagination, okay? Listen. God's given you an imagination. God's given you a brain. I cannot tell you the amount of emails that Tracy and I get of people who are lonely and would love your spouse and would jump over backwards to have the opportunity that you are just pissing away. Hey, you think I'm kidding? Let me tell you some of the guys that email me. 4- and 5-page prayers, asking for a godly woman, asking for a woman that he can spoil, that he can love, that he can cherish, that he could give her a back rub, that he could run her a bath and put candles all around it and buy her flowers and take her out to eat. And I mean, you would not believe the things that come across my little tablet that I'm reading. And here's the thing, oftentimes I'm convicted. And I try to keep it spicy, guys. I really do, okay? Because nobody likes leftovers every single night. Don't you want something different? Why do men look at pornography? Watch this very carefully. Is it because of her genitalia? No. Listen. I was talking to the doctor several years ago, and we were having a real frank conversation. And he says 99.9% of all humanity looks the same down here. Same size and everything, man or woman. There's a little variation, but not much. I go, you got to be kidding me. Hey, you know what he said? I see it every day, Matt. I see women hundreds of times a week, and I see men hundreds of times a week, okay? I can vouch. 99.9% of all men and women are the same down here. So why is it that a man wants to look at pornography or a woman wants to look at pornography? Why is it? I'm just throwing this in there. Is how that person is responding. Do you understand? How is that person? See, when you're watching that, they look like they're enjoying themselves. They look like they're really excited, okay? I want to be excited, okay? Don't you want to be excited about your marriage? Why look at that stuff? You don't need to. Oh, what you need to do is get excited about your marriage. Your wife will reflect the love that you give her. That's what Scripture says. If you start treating her like a princess, if you start treating her like she's the only woman in the entire world, guess what? It will come back to you eventually. You can make it hot, friends. Listen, you can make it hot. Let me tell you a great story, okay? There was this guy, and he worked at a factory, and he'd been living with this woman for 30 years. He was married, okay? And he was saying, man, my marriage is dull. You know what I'm saying? And he was struggling, looking at garbage. And I was like, well, that's your fault. Here's the thing, I didn't even need to ask. I said, tell me about your bedroom. Tell me about your bathroom. He goes, well, I don't understand. I said, tell me about your bedroom. He goes, well, I have these flannel sheets from when he was in college. He has flannel sheets from when he was in college. Are you kidding me? I said, let me describe your room. You got clothes laying everywhere? Yeah. Is it a catch-all? Yeah, you got tools in there? I'm just guessing on the tools. He says, yeah, I do. I have some Craftsman tools in the corner. I ordered a piece, and I'm saying I have no other room. Oh, no. I say, here's what you do. That needs to be an oasis, my friend. You got to clean that up. You need to paint the walls, okay? You need to get a new bed if you can afford it. You need to get the best sheets, okay, that money can buy. And you need to get candles. You need to make that like you're going to a Hilton hotel or the Four Seasons. See, I told this cat, nobody wants to make love in a room that reminds them of a dorm room or a locker room where it's stinky and sweaty. I said, how old's the carpet? It's from the 60s. It's this thick. It's orange. I was like, dude, here's what you need to do. Do you have a little bit of money? And the guy, he was a workaholic. He went to work. He came home. He ate. He watched TV. He went to bed. I go, that's real exciting. How long have you been doing that? 30 years this guy had been doing the same thing. No variation. He's so whipped when he gets home. Okay, and I go, how bad a shape are you in? He's like, oh, man, I'm not really exercising. I'm eating all the time. I said, man, we got to put you on the program, okay? And here's what he did. He made some goals. He was going to get on a treadmill. He was going to get up extra early and walk around the block. He was going to start eating better. He was going to drink water. He was getting rid of all the sugars and all the caffeines. That was phase one. And guess what happened? In 1 month, he lost 35 pounds. What else did he do? While his wife was at work, he had the carpet replaced in the entire house. Okay? She walks in. She can't believe it. It's like an oasis because she was so used to that. She was so used to the status quo. And it's just so unlike this man to spend money because he's hoarding it like it's going to all disappear. I got to hold on to what I got. Friends, you got to spend it, and you got to walk this road, and you got to smell the roses while they're there. You have limited time on this earth. Enjoy it. Doesn't mean waste, but it means enjoy it. What else did he do? Well, his wife's at work one day. Listen to this. He had scheduled a brand new bed and someone to come in and paint the walls and new drapes and really, really, really nice sheets, okay? When he told me about the sheets, I go, dude, was there not a sale on? He was like, oh, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But listen. And so he decked it out. He put mirrors, not mirrors, like on the wall and ceiling, okay? But he got a new dresser and he just cleaned all of it out. Half of the stuff that was in his room went to his shed. That's the kind of garbage he has there, okay? When she came in, she couldn't believe it. He was just sitting there like he normally is, okay, with a Coke and a sandwich and the clicker. And she happens to walk into the bedroom. She screams. She literally screams. She can't believe it. Guess what she was in the mood for that night? You got to be kidding, Matt. Guys, I'm not kidding. Listen. Change it up. Make it exciting. He got such a positive response from the bedroom that he realized how important it was to his wife. It's like a sanctuary now. This guy has potpourri. He has candles. He has incense. He did all of the things. He has a special place over there that has a fireplace going and rain music and all these different things. And again, she responded. She loved it. I mean, she didn't see it as a waste. She saw it as an investment in their marriage. She noticed he'd been losing weight. She noticed he'd been acting differently. She didn't understand what's taking place with my husband. He's starting to act like he did when I first met him. She starts bawling. She starts crying. Won't you be the man that your wife married on day one? Why is it after 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, we start getting stagnant, we start getting complacent, we start taking our wives for granted, and wives, you do the same thing. Don't throw stone. Matt, is that the end of the story? You wish. He gets a jacuzzi tub. The whole bathroom is remodeled. Engedi. He has this little poster, this wooden plaque on the door that says Engedi. You can look that up. It's in the Bible, okay? It's an oasis, okay? She can't believe it. It's white tiles, white terry cloth robes, beautiful towels, candles everywhere. I mean, are you kidding me? But before, what was it? It was a catch-all for magazines and newspapers, and it was dirty, and that tub had been there before the Stone Ages. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to dip into that thing? Oh, my goodness. Now, his wife comes home, and she can lay back in the tub and just relax. It puts her in the right frame of mind for love. Friends, don't let yourself go, and don't let your marriage go, and don't let some guy who's longing for a wife be looking at your wife and she's vulnerable because you haven't been the ideal husband. Friends, some of you need to get your priorities back in line. Really, you're lopsided. And see, life isn't just all about work. And it's not just all about pleasure. There's a happy medium. And friends, when you understand the hierarchy of God, you'll understand you put God first in your life, and you put your wife second, you would not believe the things that will transpire in your life. Many men that I know, many women that my wife knows, watch this, okay? They have things uneven. They have things out of order. When God is number one in your life and you're treating your spouse like Christ would treat the church, everything changes. Can I ask you a question? How exciting is your marriage? I mean, how exciting is it? 1 through 10. Okay, if you're not saying it's a 10, you got work to do. Listen, you got work to do, okay? You've heard a few things. Let me read something to you. I got this email, which is a devotion. It says, what is a Christian couple allowed to do in bed? Oh, it sounds good. You guys want to hear it? You're like, yeah, man, I'm all for that, okay? The Bible says that the marriage bed should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all sexually immoral. Hebrews 13:4. Scripture never says what a husband and wife are or are not allowed to do sexually. Husbands and wife are instructions. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent for a time. 1 Corinthians 7:5. This verse perhaps lays down the principle for sexual relations in marriage. Whatever is done, it should be mutually agreed upon. No one should be encouraged or coerced to do something he or she is uncomfortable with or thinks is wrong. If a husband and wife both agree that they want to try something, oral sex, different positions, sex toys, etc., then the Bible does not give any reason why they cannot. You guys want to hear the rest of it? Because it starts getting steamy. You're like, Matt, I'm just sitting here with my tablet. Yeah, go ahead and read the rest of it. Okay. I mean, if you want me to, I will. There are a few things, though, that are never allowed sexually for married couple. The practice of swapping or swingers, okay, bringing in an extra person, threesome, foursome, is blatantly adultery. Galatians 5:19, Ephesians 5:3, Colossians 3:5, 1 Thessalonians 4:3. It says this: adultery is sin, even if your spouse allows, approves, or even participates in it. Pornography appeals to the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, 1 John 2:16, and therefore is condemned by God as well. A husband and wife should never bring pornography into their sexual union. Other than these two items, there is nothing, listen to how it ends. Other than these two items, there is nothing that Scripture explicitly forbids a husband and wife to do with each other as long as it's by mutual consent. Can I ask you a question? Oftentimes in marriage, Tracy and I have counseled many couples. They want to try something, but they feel like it's guilty, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? God invented sex. He told Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply. Get it on. That's what he told them. He says, get it on. He says the marriage bed's undefiled. What are the two things that defile the marriage bed? Another person or watching pornography. Those are the things that defile it. A woman several days back said, Tracy, can I ask you a question? Her channel was Esther 414 Ministries, and it was regarding lingerie. Is it okay? Tracy came back at her real hard. Sure it is. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. Your husband is bombarded by images all day long. The wife ought to be putting the correct image in his mind so he doesn't look this way or that way. I mean, his focus is always thinking about his wife. Oh, no. Lingerie keeps it spicy, okay? And here's the thing. There are men, watch this very carefully because it goes along with this, that force their wives to wear certain things, okay, and act a certain way, almost acting like a whore and using dirty language. That's not of Christ. If you have to force your wife to wear something, it's not mutual. It goes against Scripture. If you're using language that's inappropriate, that's not acceptable, okay? But yet the marriage bed is undefiled. So it's just you two doing what you want in mutual agreement. The Bible refers to you two as servant lovers, okay? If both agree, there's nothing too taboo. There's nothing too crazy, okay? But yet, haven't we all been there thinking, I'd like to try this, or my friend mentioned this over coffee, and this sounds exciting, okay? And we're thinking, well, I can't see doing this, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Christian, well, so am I. Here's the thing, get it on. Some like it hot, some like it hot. Guys, let me share this with you, okay? A psychologist friend of mine was sharing this principle. The reason men are looking at pornography is they're looking how women respond to sex. But they're faking it. But it doesn't matter. To the man, it doesn't matter. He's watching a woman, okay, who is performing almost like a circus tiger, but he believes it. And it's believable, okay? You can respond the same way. And I'm not saying that you're a whore, but I'm saying that you can let loose in bed and enjoy yourself. You can make a little noise. You can go to different places and do it because what? You have a license to love when you got married. So one day, guys, I'm at the church potluck, okay? And you know how church potlucks are. Let me just give you a warning. Watch what you eat. Listen, my rule is if I don't know who cooked it, I don't eat it. I've gotten sick at church potlucks. But I'm sitting there, and a couple chairs down are two guys, and they're talking, and this guy says, man, you won't believe what I did. And my ears perk up. They shouldn't have. And he says, and the guy's saying, what'd you do? He says, man, I went to Amazon, and I bought these flavored lotions. And he's like, you did what? Yeah, these massage gels, these lotions, they're flavored. And he goes, what do you do with them? He says, well, you put them all over your wife, all the special places, and then you lick them off. Women love it. It goes crazy. And I was listening. I'm acting like I'm not hearing a word, and my ears are steaming, bro. I'm like, wow, get it on. Because listen. It's not that I haven't heard of that. It's just this guy, I just never would see it in him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He looked like a librarian. You know what I'm saying? And now he's talking about flavored lotions and all this other stuff. And he bought this. And I was just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? You just never see these things coming, and that's good. Because you're never to talk about your marriage life with another man. You don't share those things. You don't share the intimacy, the intimate details of the marriage bed with anyone because you'll cause that individual to stumble. But I get on Amazon. I'm like, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm just there. So I order them. Okay, and I ordered like 10 different flavors. You're like, Matt, did you really? I ordered like 10 different flavors. Okay, see, guys, let me share this. It's kind of trial and error with this kind of stuff. It really is. So some of the lotions were tingly. Some made you feel warm. Some taste like strawberries. Some like coconuts. And some smelled different than others. Okay, and so a lot of women, they'll like some, but they won't like them all. So a few of them, I'm saying, wasn't my wife's cup of tea. She was like, we're going to have to pass on 3 of them. But this is how my wife said. On the other 7, I don't know. If you want to just keep them in the nightstand drawer, I'm not against it. Okay, so let me go on with the story. I got this buddy. I know a guy who knows a guy. Let me put it like that. And he just wasn't real good in bed, from what he said. His wife never wanted to have sex with him. He didn't make it exciting. His room was a catch-all for everything. You know what I'm saying? At one time, he had the lawnmower in there because it was a new lawnmower, and the shed was kind of messed up, and he didn't want it in the living room because that's where they watched movies all night. So he had a lawnmower in his bedroom. Oh, how exciting. Me, you, and Snapper. I'm going somewhere with this. And he's just telling me that, yeah, she's not really into me. You know what I'm saying? We get along all the time. We're best friends, but that area of our life is there's tension there. And friends, listen very carefully. Depending on how you were raised and how your parents spoke about sex, okay, greatly influences you all of your life. If you had a Victorian mom or dad, and a lot of times our parents would tell us, thou shalt not, it's dirty, it's all these things. That's not what God said. Friends, so many women believe it's tainted, believe it's sin to enjoy the marriage, but to enjoy their husband, to have a good time. They really do. It's because of how they were raised. Maybe not so much today, but there's a lot of it out there depending on how old you are. And listen, there's always sexual trauma, meaning someone is taking advantage of the male or the female, okay? And again, they have a slanted view of the marriage bed, of sex. They just start pushing back. Friends, God can bring healing into your life. God can do that, okay? Someone's taking advantage of you, but here's the thing, that has nothing to do with the free gift that God has given you. It's pure in His sight. He approves it because He created it. Yes, someone did sin against you sexually, and you need to go to God and ask God to take the sting out of that memory. Don't let your parents or anyone else's view of sex hinder one of the greatest gifts that God's given us within the marriage. You don't want to do it. And again, listen. This was God's idea. Friends, if we were to go to Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 16, listen to this. See if you think God's bust. Awake, north wind, and come, south wind. Blow on my garden, that its fragrance may spread everywhere. Let my beloved come into his garden and taste its choice fruits. Friends, that's talking about oral sex. That's talking about Solomon going down on the Shulamite. That's what it's talking about. Don't mince words with me. We're in the man cave. You're like, Matt, the Bible really says that? Listen. Go to Song of Solomon 2:3. Listen to what the Shulamite does to Solomon. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my beloved among young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. Meaning the Solomon and the Shulamite are having a good time in marriage. There's a place where the Shulamite says this, hey, I'm going to give you something new and something old. I'm going to keep it exciting. I'm going to take us to a village. We're going to go out under this apple tree. We're going to go to the vineyard and seeing if the blooms are blossoming. Back then, what she was talking about is what? She was ready. She was in the mood. She wanted to go to a hotel. She wanted to get away from the norm. She wanted to get away from the kingdom. Solomon, I just want you for myself. I'll give you something new. I'll give you something you haven't had before, and I'll give you your favorites. So back to the story of my buddy that really wasn't real good in bed. And friends, can I just tell you this, okay? There are so many Christian books out there, Christian books, okay, about technique and positions, okay? The better you are in shape, the more that you can do. The more you exercise, the higher your sex drive will go. A lot of times when we get older, we lose our sex drive, but we also eat more donuts and sugar. Sugar kills the sex drive. Eliminate sugar. Do you understand? If you will eliminate sugar, you would not believe the difference it will have on your performance. And if you will start exercising, as you gain muscle, you'll start making more testosterone. I mean, you really can go back 15, 20 years, okay, in how you're feeling sexually. I mean, everything changes. It just seems like we're not doing the things that we need to do. We're not taking care of the temple of God. Now watch this. Is sex my God? Absolutely not. He's number one in my life. But he tells me this: if I found a good wife, I found favor from the Lord. You all have found favor from the Lord if you're married. Do you understand what I'm saying? You found favor from the Lord. You don't need to look at junk to get excited. Everything is the same down here. My doctor friend, it's all the same. What you're longing for is something different. But you can talk to your wife, and your wife can talk to you, and you can communicate in bed and tell each other what feels good, what you're willing to try, what you're not willing to try, and move forward. But back to my buddy who doesn't have a clue what he's doing. I'm talking to him, just frank, just me and him, going for a walk. I'm like, hey, are you doing this? And he's like, no. Are you doing this? No. Am I supposed to? I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? We're back in kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? We're back in kindergarten. And so I suggested a book, and he started reading the book, and it started talking about some different things that women like. And I says, I tell you what, you know what I'm saying? I want you to do something for me. He said, yeah, come to the house with me. So he came to the house with me, and I had these 3 bottles of this tingly stuff and some weird flavored stuff. I go, here's the thing, we squirted it, we didn't use it, okay? Take this home, try it. You know what I'm saying? What is it? And I had to describe it and tell him what it was, and boom, everything changed. Listen. That was a Friday night. Saturday morning, I was like, who in the world is knocking on the door at 6 o'clock in the morning? He wants to go take me to breakfast. I've changed his whole life because I gave him a lotion that warmed and tingled, okay? And this other lotion that tasted like coconuts, okay? I mean, the whole thing went wild in him. I mean, it was just a sex fest. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they were virgins for the first time. And they hadn't been married a long time, but he just didn't understand technique. He just didn't understand what to do. And I know it's awkward listening to this, but listen, you got to keep it spicy on all levels, not just in the bedroom, but in the living room, and in the kitchen, and in the bathroom, and when you're doing chores, and when you're opening doors, and when you're going on dates. You need to get in shape. You need to dress appropriately. Nobody wants to see a beach whale. Who looks at a beach whale and thinks, man, I'd like to get a hold of that? Oh, no. Start today doing the things that you did when you first started dating. Pray for your wife. One of the greatest things that you can do every single day is get on your knees around a cushion, around a table, somewhere, and pray that God will bless your wife and keep your wife and cherish your wife and start treating her like you did when you hadn't had sex with her. It's amazing. I got a knock on the door several years back, and it was an old guy across the street. I was at a small country church, and I was the pastor. And the guy says, Matt, can I talk to you? And I go, yeah, you can talk to me. What's up? And he goes, I'm just shooting straight with you. You know, my wife wants to fool around all the time. I just don't want to. And she's gotten a lot older, and when I married her, Matt, when I married her, oh, she had a body to die for. I mean, golly, she was dark, long hair. Oh, man, she was the cat of all cats. I mean, cougar. And I was like, I'm kind of blushing, listen to this guy, because this guy, he's pushing 70. He's like, well, Matt, she's none of that anymore. And it just doesn't do anything for me down here. She doesn't do anything. And I told him this. I said, listen. The story that you just told me about your wife when you first got married, that's a great story. And he started telling me other stories. I go, no, I don't need to hear those stories. That's between you and her, you know what I'm saying? This guy was very active, and I mean, here's the thing. I said, what's keeping you from that today? He goes, well, I'm not turned on. I said, can you imagine her when you first met her? And he goes, oh, yeah, I do that all the time. Is that wrong? I go, no, as long as it's your wife. Friends, you can dress her up in your mind, and you can go anywhere in the world you want with her, but it has to be your wife. See, that's where the sin comes in when people are looking at garbage on the internet, because it's someone else's, not yours. You see what I'm saying? You're not married to that gal. You don't know who she is, but if you're married, you can imagine your wife dressed however you want, wherever you want. Do you understand? And that's what I told this man. It changed everything. Friends, sex starts up here. Intimacy starts up here. Friendship starts up here. You need to do your due diligence and understand, okay? Do the things that you know to do and work on them. And you won't believe the results that you're going to get. Someone wants your wife. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes we take our wives for granted, but if you were to read some of the emails yet again that I have received about men that are out there that are praying to God, that are so lonely, that want someone to be a friend. It's not so much the sex thing. They just want to sit across from someone when they're eating. They want to go to the movies with someone. They want to go through the mall. They want to spoil someone. There are scores of men that are like this that would love to have what you're neglecting. I'm saying from this day, this very day forward, don't neglect your wife. God says, okay, be fruitful, multiply, enjoy yourselves, love each other, be servant lovers. And yet, in most marriages, watch this, intimacy happens 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, okay? And maybe less in your marriage, but watch this very carefully. This is what's so interesting. Most of the time, it's not more than an hour, and yet it has such a big part of our life. You're with that person, okay, 24/7. Treat that person like gold. Treat that person, okay, like you would want to be treated. Make your marriage exciting. It's just not all about the sex. It's about you hanging out with your best friend for life and enjoying life and experiencing life and continuing to make it exciting and continuing to have new adventures and continuing to do new things and continuing to move forward together as one that God put together. Friends, can I share this with you? Your wife, she's so valuable, but she's valuable because she's a child of a king and for no other reason. Everything else is frosting on the cake. You're married, if she's a Christian, to a child of a king. Friends, can I ask you a question? Let's end here. Are you treating your wife like Jacob treated Rachel? Or like Solomon treated the Shulamite? Or like Elkanah treated Hannah? Are you treating her like a princess? Are you treating your wife like she's a child of the living God? If you have a good wife, which you do, you found favor with the Lord. Treat her in such a way, cherish her, love her, okay? Be understanding, be nurturing, do all the things that she needs. If you will meet her emotional needs, more times than not, over time, she will start meeting your physical needs. Make it exciting. Who wants to live with the same old boring person and do the same things that you've been doing all of your life? Friends, spice every part of your life up. I'm not just talking about the bedroom. I'm talking about all of your marriage. And when you do, you will not believe what will transpire. You will start getting excited. You will start getting in shape. You will start longing for different things, experiencing different things. You will start living up here in the clouds and not in the valley. Friends, I want you to try something new and do something new and go somewhere. Don't do it the same way you've been doing it all these years in the same position. Why don't you mix it up? Friends, can I ask you a question? When was the last time you invested $20 in a Christian book that talked about sex? Or are you the master? You're not the master. We can all learn. Friends, the weekend's coming up, is it not? What are you going to do about it? Listen, what are you going to do about it? I'm not saying you have to buy a new tub, buy a new bed, but you can go into that bedroom and clean it up. And you can, for a few amount of dollars, buy some candles, get some potpourri, get some incense. And you could wash the bed sheets, or you could buy new sheets. They're not expensive, okay? You can deck out what you have, okay? You don't have to buy brand new. A lot of us are on budgets, and we just don't have money like this individual that I was given the illustration for. Are you going out to eat? I'm not talking that you have to go to the steakhouse. You can go somewhere where it's just you and her. You can hire a babysitter if you have small kids. You need to do it. You need to invest in your marriage and realize this, that the enemy of your souls wants to break up your marriage. He wants to put a wedge there. He wants to get you two thinking about other people. And friends, again, watch this. Men are looking at other women, okay, because of how they respond and how they act. Can I share this with you? Those women in those porn sites, they could never be as good to you as your wife can. Your wife could outperform them on every level. Absolutely, okay? It's just how they respond. But they're fakers. They're actresses. You see what I'm saying? They get paid. If they didn't get paid, they wouldn't be doing it. So they're suckering so many men in. So guys, the weekend's coming up. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do tomorrow or the next day? Are you going to take her to dinner? Are you going to get her flowers? Are you going to clean the bedroom? Are you going to get some potpourri, some candles, some incense? Are you going to clean the tub and get some candles around that? What are you going to do for your wife? I hope some of the things that I've spoken about, some of the things that I read, some of the insights, some of Scripture is going to recharge your batteries, give you a vision, give you some ideas, give you a direction, help you to make the adjustments in your life that will what? Bless your marriage and bless your family. It's the weekend coming. Some like it hot, some like it hotter. Hey, this is Matt, Late Night in the Man Cave. Double fist bump. See you tomorrow.